Amita Lore, who's the 2024 Olympic Games gold medalist. Spencer Lee, also 2024, he won the silver medal. Kayla Miracle, two-time Olympian, 2020 and 2024. And Zahid Valencia, the senior world champion bronze medalist in 2023. And of course, with us also Brendan Buckley, executive director of Beat the Streets. Again, June 14th, 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock are the times for the event. And then also the day before, on the 13th, we're going to have an on-site press conference at 11 a.m. And we'll be announcing soon who the members of the team will be on that press conference as well, but live at 11 a.m. at Prudential Center. If you have questions, you need a press release, you need media application, anything like that, just go ahead and chat with me. The best way to ask questions here is to use the raise hand function within React. If you can't do that, or if it's not working right and you just want to message me in the chat, you can do that, and we'll do the questions. I'll start though quickly with Brendan, just to kind of get going. Brendan, what are some of the ways Beat the Streets event benefits the program, and also what are some successes since the last time we had this event in 2023?
Sure. So our annual benefit each year is the one fundraising event on the year that pays for as much as 75% of our budget. So historically, pre-Final X, we would do international dual meets in various New York City's iconic venues. Then in 2021, we transitioned to hosting Final X. Right, it was 2022, and so this will be our third time doing it. It pays for everything. All of our coaches, our training center expenses, our middle school league we run called the Junior League, our partnership with New York City's high school league, travel competitions, camps, clinics, Fargo, staff, and now our own training center that we have been in for a little more than a year and a half. So I would say since the last Beat the Streets Final X event, we were able to acquire our own 7,400 square foot training facility that also serves as our central hub for our programming. So we run training center practices here 3 to 4 days a week, K through 12 programming. We run our academy program that helps kids not just on the mat, but off the mat with college prep workshops and a variety of other different life skill workshops. Our staff meets here. We've held fundraising events here. We held our annual career day here. So being able to host this event with our partners at USA Wrestling and all the athletes, it really keeps our brand alive and brings a lot of attention and much needed resources.
Great. Thanks, Brendan. We certainly thank all the athletes who are on right now and the media who've joined us. Anyone who's interested in recording the session, which I forgot to mention, just let me know and I can give you permission to record. We're also recording it, and I can send you that after as well. But if you want to do that yourself, just let me know. Also, if you have a question now, just go ahead and use that raise hand function and we'll start the questioning. Or if you can't get that to work, just send me a note in the chat and we'll get that going. So any questions now, go ahead and use the raise hand or let me know in the chat. We'll start with Luke Silpy. Luke from Sports Media Report. Go ahead, Luke.
Hey, the first question I have is for Amit Allure. Amit, you were the up-and-coming wrestler when you competed at the Beaten Streets at the first 2 times, and now you're an Olympic gold medalist. How did that change your mindset going into a big event like Final X?
Yeah, my very first Final X was, I think, Madison Square Garden in 2022, and it was just a really cool experience for me. Started out as an underdog, had nothing to lose, and now I'm returning as somebody who's at the top, which is just a little bit of a different experience, but it definitely gave me a lot of experience. That way I was able to go out to the World Championship and, be confident that I've been through a big event like that and go on to represent our country.
Great, thank you. Next up, Eli McCown, Des Moines Register.
Spencer, just a question for you. First, hope you're doing well and everything. But the thing I kind of wanted to ask is obviously after your Olympic run, you kind of expressed your own frustration with how things went, particularly with the build up, right? You put in a lot of work to get your body right, your mind right, and then came up short of that goal. I'm curious for you, just as you approach, Final X and trying to go after world gold, just that transition of like being disappointed and then getting yourself back on the horse, so to speak, to try and compete for those world title aspirations.
Well, it is difficult. I mean, we all put our all into every single event and competition that we train for, and that was the pinnacle of our sport. And unfortunately, I was unable to get it done. But I feel like I was ready to go and I did everything right. So that was meant to be that day. So all you can do is saddle back up and get ready for the next best thing. And for me, that's right now it's Final X, making my first senior world team. Since Olympic team is the only one I've made so far. So that's the goal right now, and then hopefully win a world title, and the best you can do is one thing at a time. So for me, it was just how can we do better the next time, get ready to compete at the highest level again, and feeling good, stay healthy, stay strong, and go out there, have fun, score points, and do your best. What's next? And the next best thing right now is Final X, and I look forward to competing in the event for the first time. So
I think just like a follow up as well is like you obviously talked to was somebody who was really important to you, and he announced his retirement. And you guys talked a lot about reaching like your guys' pinnacles and how important that was to you. So when you see a guy like that retire and you start thinking about your own career and things of that nature, what did he kind of just mean to you? And then how does that kind of change perspective for you when I know he was a guy that was training with you in Iowa City and was also pushing you. And I think you even said during his retirement, he was still whooping you a little bit too in that time.
are you talking about who retired?
Takto.
Oh, Takto? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear you at first. Yeah, well, I was very sad he retired just because, he came in the room and he was still, kind of, in my opinion, the man, right? He was beating up on me pretty good. So it was pretty cool to see someone who hadn't competed, for 2 or 3 years, who was hurt, tried to make their Olympic team, and that person who barely beat him wins the Olympics again, come train with me and get to feel that experience. So then he retires just because it's hard to keep that fire once you've already won. I think for some other countries like that, where in America we're very fortunate. We have the Living the Dream Fund. We have great support network. You win, you get the support of a champion. And I think in Japan, even if he had won again, I don't think anything in his life would have changed. So to him, it was like, if I want to do it, it's because I want to do it. And I think that he would rather coach. I think the passion for him in wrestling became, I love wrestling, but I don't love competing anymore. So I think that's really tough, and that resonated with me a lot because I think it can resonate with everyone because it's very difficult to keep going. And I think that you have to find why you do it. And obviously, I still love the sport, so I want to keep doing it. So it made me realize I still love it, and that's another reason why I'm still competing. So, yeah.
Thanks, Spencer.
Great. Thanks, Eli. Next up is Joe Smeltzer, Nittany Sports Now.
Hi, thanks everyone for the time. This one's for Spencer. So, your Final X opponent, Luke Lilledahl, what do you see from him on the mat that makes him a rising star both in freestyle and folk style? And as somebody who both of you were top recruits coming out of high school, competing at the same weight class, does he remind you of your younger self in any way?
It's funny because I remember I wrestled with him at the Olympic Training Center, and I remember telling him like, "Hey, you're pretty tough. High school must be boring for you." And he kind of laughed like, "Yeah, high school is a little boring, because when you're at that level and you're still wrestling high school kids, you're probably dominating, right?" So I mean, I think that as an athlete, he's growing, he's becoming younger. I think it attributes the success of USA Wrestling's future. I mean, we have two high school kids in this event, and then he's a true freshman in college. So I think it just attributes to the future of USA Wrestling is very bright, and I think it's awesome. And he's a very, very tough opponent, and he earned his spot in Final X for a reason. So, I mean, I don't know if he is more like me growing up. I think that, I mean, he's a junior world champ as well, and he, cadet world silver, I think, as well. So he's got a lot of medals, a lot of teams. He might be one of the only people to make 3 cadet world teams as well. So I think that he definitely has, a similar pedigree to when I was his age. So I think that's pretty cool. And it kind of shows me what I wish I could have done when I was his age, So look forward to the competition coming up. So he's a very tough opponent.
Great, thanks. And while I have a couple of questions in the queue here, a reminder to those who are new to coming in, if you want to ask a question, go ahead into the go into the chat function and let me know, or go into the raise hand function, either one. I have a question that was in the chat from Amy Berg. This is for Amit. Since you moved up in weight class since the Olympics, how's that transition going, and what's new since Paris?
Yes, I have moved up a weight. I was 68 kilos for the Olympics, and now I'm back at 72. I was at 72 kilos in both 2022 and 2023. So far, I really do like being back at this weight. I really don't have to cut much weight. This is more so my normal body weight, and I feel like I feel healthier here. As far as what's new, with the Olympics comes a lot of opportunities. I've gone to run a lot of different wrestling clinics, and I have a lot more lined up for me this summer. And so that's all really exciting. And I've definitely delved into coaching a little bit more, and it's wonderful. It's really fun for me.
Thanks, Amit. And now a question from Kyle Klingman.
That was helpful.
Kayla, would you explain your training situation at Valiant Prep, where you were a math teacher, where you also train?
I'm eating all your fries. Sorry. I'm eating all
Yeah, so being a teacher, having a job and training full time is actually really difficult. I'm with the kids every day I get there at 7 a.m. and I'm teaching classes, and then I go upstairs and I get to train with them. And there are some amazing girls up in the room, right? Like Everest Lidecker is going to be competing at Final X for her first world team, and she's 17 years old. She also just made the U20 world team. So that's a huge testament to her and like the growth of the women's program. And then we also have all the guys. So all the guys are really tough. I remember when I first moved out here, I trained a lot with Kyler Larkin and Adrian Meza, and they would just put a whooping on me. And so now they've aged out, but there are a ton. You got Angel Cejudo Jr. and Dean Anderson or Gunnar, right? Like all these guys that can just beat me up, and, I can learn from them and get better from them, and then they can learn from me. And so it's a really special situation that I can connect with them in all sorts of ways. Like they come to my classroom during lunch and talk about their lives or ask for advice or whatever. They ask me questions in the room, and then they also, are coming in early at school to get some tutoring help. So it's like a really cool dynamic that I don't think anyone can ever like replicate.
Great. Thanks, Kayla. Next up is Luke Silpy.
So, Zahid Valencia, you've been part of Final X all the way back to juniors in 2016. What does it mean to come back to this event year after year?
I think it's awesome. It's a testament to just staying consistent, staying disciplined. And, out of the ones that I've gone, especially in the senior level, I've only made one team. So just continuing to work hard, work smart, and want to make that jump, and it's going to be against someone who's been there before, who has won in the big stages. So just staying focused. And I think the move to Okie State has helped a lot, being around David, especially just picking his brain, his mindset, what I kind of got to do to make that jump, elevate my game. And I'm just excited. I love competing. I love wrestling. So just going out there and, giving the fans what they want and earning that win, in the practice room every day, in my lifts and my conditioning. So just excited for sure.
Great, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Zahid. Next up, Crystal Hart, Manhattan Media.
Hi, Kayla, I wanted to ask you, you were talking about your teaching and how do you balance your physical demands with your mental and emotional well-being?
I think this is, I feel like most people, if they take on a full-time role, in a job setting, right, and then they have to go train, it's exhausting. And it is. Like, I feel really tired at the end of the day, so I get a lot of good sleep. But I think before, when I was just training, each workout, like looking forward to the next workout, it was kind of daunting in a way. And so now I go into school and my mind is off of wrestling. So my body kind of wakes up in an easier way. And so it's easier to get right into practice. And then I'm looking at practice for, the 2 hours that it is versus the lead up to it and it being like, oh, shoot, like this practice is going to be rough. I'm going to get my butt kicked, or we're doing these situations, you know, type of mentality. So now it's just like, all right, I have a job to do before I have this job to do. And so it's kind of easier. There's definitely less time for recovery, right? So trying to stay on top of that, you know, especially on the weekends, or having to do maybe a later hot yoga session or something. But overall, I think it's really good for my mental state.
Okay. And what aspect do you like most about wrestling? What do you find exciting about it?
I think my favorite thing about wrestling is that we all strive for like perfection, and perfection is literally unattainable in wrestling. You can think you have it all figured out. You can win the Olympic gold, however many world titles, but you aren't there yet. There's never a there, right? And you can always keep learning and growing. And so we're always chasing this unattainable perfection. And I think that's a really cool and neat thing that, you know, that this sport has to offer.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Crystal. Next up, Kyle Klingman with Flow.
Spencer, you had mentioned some training sessions with Vito. How did that materialize, and what did you learn from those sessions?
Oh, you know, we both knew that we're both in Final X. We won't be competing against each other. I've known Vito since we were like 9-10 years old. So, and I'd asked him to train like a couple months ago, and he was still recovering. So he just reached out and figured it would work out. It was great. He's a great opponent and a great partner. So hopefully I can train with more people like that in the future. You know, anyone's welcome. So we all want to get better. So works out, right?
Great, thanks. Any others who have questions, go ahead and raise your hand or send me a note in the chat. I'll happily get your question up next. I think, Richard, you did have something you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I'll go to Zahid a little bit. You talked about your training environment change going to Cowboy. So I was wondering if you could expand on how you've grown since that transition. And then the second part of the question would be, what did you learn in match 1 against Dake from the U.S. Open that you can apply here in the Final X series, knowing it's a 2 out of 3, and how does that maybe change things for you?
Yeah, I think the transition's been really good for me. You know, I loved Arizona, just never really had the partners there that could push me the way I'm being pushed now, and they got a bunch of resources right now. We have these foreigners out wrestling, competing with me. They're going to be out here for 2 weeks, so just grinding, sparring situations. It's been really fun. You know, I'm getting tired. I'm getting my ass whooped, and you know, we do the Versa climbers, the air dying. So it's been really good, and getting help with those coaches, and going back just to match 1 with Dave. I felt pretty good that first period. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. I know he's gonna make the adjustments going into match 2 and 3 there in Final X. So just staying disciplined, I think. Keep leaning on my coaches, on their advice, since they've been there. You know, I've been there a couple times, but you know, this is different. You know, being able to wrestle one of the greats, and I've wrestled, Burroughs before, Taylor, obviously, and just I get another chance at another great opponent. So I just think it's nothing different, just staying focused, and just letting all my moves come together, staying confident in my conditioning and in my technique. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Great, thanks. I have another question from Amy Berg, another for Amit. Two-parter. One, what was the biggest unexpected lesson you learned from the Paris Olympics, and are you with the same coaches?
I'll go with the second one first. I am with the same coaches. I started working with Coach Sarah McMahon, who lives down in Sacramento, California. I'm from Walnut Creek, which is about an hour away. I started working with her in 2023, and she was in my corner during the Olympics, and I'm still working with her. She was in my corner at World Team Trials, and will also be there for me in Final X, and she's just been a really great influence on me. She's a great role model. What was the first part again of the question? The first question?
First question was the biggest unexpected lesson from Pat.
Yeah, I think after competition, I was on such a high that I wasn't taking care of my health. I was having trouble sleeping. I was barely sleeping for a month, 1 to 2 months. And because of all the travel and the opportunities, I ended up getting pneumonia. And it made it so I couldn't wrestle, I couldn't work out or do anything high intensity. And working out and wrestling is part of who I am. It's part of what makes me happy. So that was really challenging. And then when I was going back to training and stuff like that, I would get sick again and again. And this lasted up until probably February. And so this was just a huge delay for me. And then I had old injuries pop up and this and that. And it's just really, like I'm so driven. I want to get back and I want to make the world team and I want to continue training for LA, but it's different after winning an Olympic gold. So it was an interesting process for me mentally just coming back.
Great, thank you. Next up, Joe Smeltzer, Nittany Sports Now.
Hey, this one's for Zahid. Since Kyle Dake is almost in his mid-30s now, people are wondering, how much he has left in the tank. As somebody who wrestled him about a month ago, how much do you think he has left, and how do you think he's changed on the mat in the years since you've been following him?
Well, supposedly he's reversing the clock, is what I've heard. But I don't know. I think his wrestling has changed a bit. I could tell he doesn't take as much shots. He just looks for that chest wrap. So those are things that we've been practicing in the room. Obviously he's still a great competitor. He's determined, still strong as heck. But I think I'm in my prime now, and I think I could feel him kind of fading. I think you could see it at the second period. He was kind of exhausted in my match, and then just watching him against Tarachi, giving up that push out, caution one, then that almost takedown at the end. I feel like if I just continue putting the pressure on him and getting to my attacks, it'll be a different match going into Final X.
All right, next up, Kyle Klingman, Flo.
Amit, you got mobbed at the World Team Trials Challenge tournament, people wanting pictures and autographs. How do you deal with that part of fame?
Yeah, it's surreal for me, but every single person that comes up to me, I don't get overwhelmed by the amount of people or anything like that. I just take it one interaction after another, and I want to learn more about these little kids, these people. I ask them questions, I hear their stories, give them advice if I can. But at some point, like if I am competing the next day or I have my own schedule, I do have people around me that are like, Amit, we only have so much time, so. It's hard for me because I don't want to say no if I could. And if there were people that did want to meet me, I would stay there as long as I possibly could. So that has been really cool, and unexpected. I think it was awesome too that I think there was a kids tournament going on at the same time at World Team Trials. So I think it was great for them to be able to watch our matches and just be exposed to that.
Great, thanks. Time for one more question, if anyone wants to pop up with the last question. All right, well, I appreciate everyone being on. I just put in the chat room my information again. If you have a need for the video of this or application for media, if you haven't done that, or any other questions, just go ahead and email or text me. And again, thank everyone on the call, especially the athletes, and look forward to seeing you on the 13th at the press conference, 11 a.m. at Prudential Center, as well as the event itself, 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock, Prudential Center the next day, Saturday, June 14th. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks.
Thanks. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you.